Hi, and welcome to THORsday Comics. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics, and Fantastic Four Grand Design. Now we're reading Journey into Mystery starring Thor, number 102, Slave of Zarko the Tomorrow Man. You are about to enter the world of the future, where the mighty Thor must do the bidding of a master villain. Another Marvel triumph. Some good salesmanship up there. Let your thundering hammer serve me, Thor. I am your master. You are my slave. Cunningly conceived by Stan Lee, daringly drawn by Jack Kirby, ingeniously inked by Chic Stone, lovingly lettered by Art Simic. I just want to note that when Jack Kirby draws a comic, he also co-writes it in almost every case, with very few exceptions. The cunningly conceived by Stan Lee is a little misleading. Jack Kirby was also conceiving it in addition to drawing it. And yeah, right off the bat, we have the arrival of Chic Stone, one of my favorite Kirby inkers. I mean, I think his style is just so much fun. It adds a certain snap and panache that has really been missing up to this point. It really feels like a Marvel comic with Chic Stone doing the ink, and it really feels extra Kirby-ish. He kind of brings out Kirby's Kirbiness. He brings out a little 60s feel. He brings a little pop art feel with those, thin to thick lines. It's just such a great look. It's just really fun, really appealing. It's like we got all the pieces here. Thor has arrived. There's been some great issues up to this point here and there, and definitely, once Kirby comes back to the series on a regular basis, goes to another level. But add a world-class inker like Chic Stone, and you're just really, it's smooth sailing. This is just a great comic, and it's Kirby drawing the future. And man, if there was ever, like a setting that was perfectly designed for Kirby, it's the future. It's kind of a shame there wasn't some ongoing, long-running comic of his where he gets to depict a sort of, high-tech future. He got to do his share of that within, his Marvel work and within the Fourth World, when you get the little glimpses of New Genesis and whatnot, and, all the different planets that Fantastic Four visits and Asgard and things. But man, a comic that just took place in the future, that would be great. We have at DC in the 70s, he had sort of like the short-running OMAC, and then he had the longer-running Kamandi, but Kamandi was more of a dystopian future of like wreckage, which again, I mean, Kirby's great at drawing that, but like I just love the inventiveness of his futurescapes. And we're getting like a heavy dose of that this issue, and makes for a lot of fun, and all the sort of high-tech inventions that he comes up with along the way. So let's get started. So we get the recap. So we're getting up to speed. And it's a retelling of the previous issue's events, retold, with a lot of style. Like it feels almost like an amped up version of what we read last issue. Delivered in a smaller number of panels. And again, the Chic Stone inks just give it a little extra pop. And so this image is really nice with Loki's peering eyes in the background, lots of color, and then we get a sort of an even more dramatic angle on than in the previous issue of Loki looking down into this well where he can see into the future, putting this moment and this moment in the same panel. We get the action going, just really nice. He can't defeat the Zarko's robot, and so Zarko says, "I'm going to destroy your sentry, but actually, hear me, Thor. Nothing on Earth can stop my robot. Once you are defeated, I can pillage the entire 20th century, but I am not interested in this primitive age. Instead, I have an offer to make to you." "What kind of offer?" "If you return to the 23rd century with me and help me conquer my own future world, then I promise to leave this century and cause no more harm." "I have no choice. I cannot put the 20th century at your mercy. I will serve you in the world of the future." And of course, Odin is pissed seeing his son capitulate like this to a villain, and Loki's loving it. An interesting thing, I like that little bit with Zarko, that he's not interested in conquering the 20th century. And I can kind of, I never would have thought of that, but yeah, I can relate to that. It's like, he wants to conquer his world, the world he knows, the world he's comfortable in, the world he's familiar with. He doesn't give a shit about this ancient history. He doesn't want to be the king of this shit-smelling 20th century. He wants to be the king of his world. Do you want to be the ruler of the Middle Ages or something where, even a king kind of lived in squalor and just everything smelled like shit and there's no toilets and stuff? Of course not. You want to rule your world. You don't want to rule some backwards version of it. So I thought that was kind of a cool detail. And so they go back together to the 23rd century, and how beautiful is that? Just beautiful. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that Kirby does as easily as, brushing his teeth. And I just marvel at it. Like, how do you do that? How do you just pull that out? And it's so much his own. There's so much going on there. It's pretty amazing what he does. Just super inventive. His sense of design, Kirby's future is just such a great looking future. It's a future I would want to live in. We get little glimpses of it in the various like kingdoms and whatnot that he draws, throughout his Marvel series. But this issue, we get a nice steady dose of his future. And so look at this kind of like floating penthouse and a robot butler, these conveyor belts that everybody goes on, these airships. Everything's going wrong. Everything's crashing. According to the narration, it's Thor's fault. Thor is sort of sabotaging everything at the behest of Zarko the Tomorrow Man. I really like this little bit. It's kind of humorous sci-fi. He makes sort of it's a robot traffic cop that directs the traffic of all the all the air traffic. Very Back to the Future Part 2. After causing all this chaos, the Tomorrow Man announces himself and says he's got Thor to back him up. And so then, although the world of the 23rd century has no official police force because there is no crime, they do have uniformed technoguards whose duty is to protect the machines which serve mankind. Suddenly, a small squad of such guards appears. "Stand at ease, Zarko. We shall take you before the World Council." "No, not yet. Not until I am ready. I obey no other commands." And these technoguards, who are the only armed authority whose duty is to protect machines, are pretty formidable looking. This future world that Kirby and Stan have composed is extremely interesting. It's one of many futures that he creates in his Marvel body of work, and we don't spend that much time getting to know this 23rd century, but it seems interesting, and I am curious about how the whole society functions, and we're getting little glimpses of it. Those instruments you hold are not really weapons. They are meant only to control defective machines. They cannot threaten Thor. Destroy them, Thunder God. I must do as I am bidden. So Thor is kind of like reluctantly serving the Tomorrow Man because he made an oath. He promised, fair is fair. He's bound by his word, bound by his oath. And so he promised to help Zarko, but he will only help to the bare minimum of what he's promised. And the second he's fulfilled his promise of helping Zarko conquer the 23rd century, then he's going to, do whatever he needs to do. He harnesses alpha particles from the atmosphere and focuses them with the gleaming head of his hammer, which disarms the technoguards. And then Zarko tells him to, that he wants them subdued. So subdue them, Thor. And so Thor does it in the least violent way he can think of. So he angles his hammer at the sun and uses the light to hypnotize the guards. It's not quite what I meant, but it will do for now. And so they get into this flying car. They got these cool flying motorcycles. And then they go in front of the World Council and power. I want to know where the master machine is hidden, the one supreme machine which gives you your orders. Once I put that machine under my command, the world is mine. So yeah, everybody gets their orders from this like master computer, and then they sick their security system on them, which are these octopus robots. They're called Protecto robots. At the touch of a button by the chief councilman, a wall panel slides open and a powerful, complex Protecto robot in the form of a giant octopus hurls itself at the two departing figures. Very cool looking robot design. This is great. This is what I want out of a comic. This is why Kirby's the greatest. And he just sort of casually does this stuff. And then a nice little twist. Instead of spraying a cloud of ink, it sprays a poisonous cloud of vapor. And then Thor takes the vapor hose, feeds it back into the octopus, and the octopus explodes. As Batman says, every trap contains its own solution. So now they fly to the far distant location where the master control machine is kept. Has this cool looking door. Thor smashes it. This is a very iconic panel right here. And then they're sort of peering inward, and then out shoots another amazing Kirby invention he's creating on the fly. It's a C bomb. And what's the C stand for? It stands for cell, because it's a bomb that when it goes off, it creates a prison cell and traps you within it. Look at this. Beautiful design. It's just fun to look at, and it's functional and propels the story forward. Would make an amazing toy. And so now they're trapped by this thing, and it creates this high gravity, and now Thor can barely move, but he lifts his hammer and smashes it. And now they're inside, and here's all the little nodes that control, all the capital cities of the world. You can see some of them called out here: New York, Tokyo, Paris, London, Belgrade, Athens, Bangkok, Oslo, Cairo, Cape Town, Brasilia, Chicago, Moscow, New Delhi, Lima, Antarctica, Tahiti, Madrid, Saigon, Nome, Quebec, Bombay, Reykjavik, Berlin. Now, all I need do is set the main circuit to take orders only from me, and then I will be the one ruling the human race. I have reached my goal. I am master of mankind. Then I have kept my word. I have given you mastery of the 23rd century. Yes, you fool, you kept your word, and I have realized my dream. I'm the most powerful human who ever lived. And it's kind of like one of those, genie stories or whatever. Now that Thor has fulfilled the letter of the law, he's fulfilled, the word that he gave. He's free to act and to double-cross Zarko. But alas, your triumph is about to come to an end, Zarko. Now that I have kept my word, I am free to follow my own whims, free to battle you. But Zarko was ready for this, and he has some gadgets ready to take Thor on with. And then Thor throws his hammer. He's got this freeze ray. Just really cool battle. These Marvel comics, these Kirby comics, they really deliver. They give you what you want out of a superhero comic book. So they have a standoff. I alone, of all the spineless milksops in this century, dared to commit a crime. And if you do not halt, I will pull this lever and commit another. By harnessing the energy of the master machine, I can direct beams of pure force to any place on Earth, destroying whatever they touch. Or I can send my force rays into the very stratosphere, causing vital space stations and satellites to plunge helplessly back to Earth. This is a Marvel staple, particularly of this era, where we see possible apocalyptic outcomes if the villain is not stopped. And so Kirby gets to draw these great sort of like end of the world sequences. So if you come a step closer, I'll pull this switch signaling the death knell of Earth. You shall pull no more switches, Zarko. Your days of threatening are over. And so Thor zaps him and creates a like a ball of solid energy he creates a ball of semi-solid energy matter. And then yes, just the story's about to end, but Kirby wants to give us another like super cool sci-fi vehicle with these. A short time later, an official scout ship of the World Council reaches the Thunder God. You have come in time. The battle is over. So we got these World Council guys popping out of the bottom of this cool hover ship, and they take them away to be kept in a maximum security area. And now Thor spins his hammer, and he spins it twice the speed of light. And if he does that, he can move backward or forward in time, and he'll utilize that a few more times in the course of the series. And another sort of Superman flourish. Superman could sort of travel freely back and forth through time. And so Thor's, spinning his way through time. Odin could not be more proud. He's beaming. Did you see, Loki? My favorite son did not fail me. He only seemed to be in league with the mortal until he had carried out his oath. Bah, everything went wrong with my plan. Thor is back in favor with Odin again. And then we get this great final panel. I just love this, of this sort of flat magenta, and Loki's jealous, angry, scheming eyes looking down at Thor as he's tornadoing his way through time. Just great stuff. And so we leave one of the most colorful of all superheroes as he hurtles back through the centuries to one of the weirdest adventures of all time. But that's a tale for next issue. I guarantee they haven't thought of it yet, but it's going to be a doozy. But time is endless, and I too am an immortal. Sooner or later I shall defeat the accursed Thor, and when I do, it will be forever. And so, I usually don't care too much about the non-Thor stories in an issue of Journey into Mystery, but I'm really enjoying this Basil Wolverton look that these Larry Lieber stories, inked by Matt Fox and written by Stan Lee. I really love the look of them. They're a lot of fun. They kind of give some extra oomph to, sort of run-of-the-mill sci-fi stories. They're just really fun to look at. I mean, this aesthetic was probably a little bit out of date at this time, but I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, I'd be into 100 issues of something like this. It's a shame they didn't find some kind of one of the superhero books that Larry Lieber and Matt Fox could kind of settle in on with this kind of look. Would have worked pretty nice for the Hulk, maybe. And so now we have another one of these Boyhood of Thor, Tales of Asgard stories. This time, it's not inked by Chic Stone. This is inked by Paul Reinman. Paul Reinman's style here, it's kind of like a quick, dashed off style, a little bit imprecise. I would like a little more precision, but I do like the energy of it. It does have a propulsive energy, and this is a very fast-moving, propulsive story, so it fits. And this continues. This is part 3 of the 3-parter of the story of how Thor earns his hammer, and I really like the way they sort of tie it up in this issue. And you look at those 3 issues, and we do get a nice progression. Death comes to Thor. At last I found the 3 fates. They can tell me if I shall ever be awarded Odin's magic hammer. So yeah, Thor is desperate to find out if he's ever going to get that hammer, and he goes to visit the Norn witches, the Fates. Note: the editors are pleased to announce that Tales of Asgard has become one of the most popular series in comicdom and has won itself a permanent place among the Marvel roster of fabulous features. Now that could very well be a completely nonsensical statement. Like, that could just be something that Stan's just pulling out of nowhere, but it does kind of give you the impression that, oh, hey, I'm reading something special. I mean, and again, it's great salesmanship. If the stories were garbage, it would be laughable nonsense. But at this point, they are delivering some of the best comics ever made in the medium. So if it's true, it's not bragging. Seeing Thor, the 3 fates sense his request and answer him before his lips can frame the question. You can win Odin's enchanted hammer, but you will have to meet death first. The fates never lie. This must mean I'm doomed. But I will never stop trying. I must have the magic hammer. And if I must die in order to get it, then I shall face my destiny with courage, as the son of Odin should. Just really great setup. This ends up being like a nice little fable. And the main story too, it is this, it's got the feel of sort of a timeless story, I really like what they're doing in this whole issue. Returning to Odin's palace, the young godling once more tries to lift the all-powerful hammer, but still cannot raise it more than a few inches. This is the highest I have ever raised it, but it still is not enough. So this is Thor at age 18. He's not so much he's right at the cusp of boyhood and manhood, and he looks more or less like the Thor that we know, but yeah, he's 18. This is like the dawn of Thor. This is like the beginning of the Thor we know. This is the highest I have ever raised it, but it is still not enough. At that moment, Balder, the innocent, staggers into the great chamber, covered with the wounds of battle. Thor, the storm giants ambushed me, seized my sister, Sif. gentle Sif, a prisoner of the storm giants. It is unthinkable. Another thing in this issue, I'm seeing a lot more colored word balloons, which is kind of a nice touch. Just adds to the sort of pop art, fun, colorful spectacle of the whole thing. Here come the guards to attend you, valiant Balder. As for me, I shall rescue Sif from the enemy, or die trying. This I swear to you, my friend. Then, for the first time in his life, Thor grasps the mighty hammer and holds it high over his head. But so intent upon his mission is he that he doesn't realize what he is doing. Let the storm giants beware. I love this. I love this twist. I love this moment. He's so caught up in the moment. This thing he's been looking for his whole life kind of happens, but he's so caught up in true heroism that he doesn't even realize it. Just the rhythm that we've had in the previous two parts kind of set us up for the expectation that, he'll have his big adventure, and then by the end of the adventure, then he'll get to, try to lift the hammer one more time and he'll be able to lift it. And so I like the way this, sidesteps our expectations and then from here, the story goes at full gallop. I mean, it was pretty fast paced to begin with, but it's at full gallop. He, charges over to the castle where Sif is imprisoned. Later, at the outer approaches to the castle where Sif is imprisoned, behold, it is the puny godling. This time he will not elude us again. Take caution, brother, though his size is small compared to ours. He has the strength and valor of many men. I have no time to waste with mere castle guards. I must find the lovely Sif within those walls. This will enable me to reach the castle without any further interference. And now to rescue the sister of my friend Balder. So boom, boom, boom. It's just, great visual storytelling. It's, fast-paced action adventure. Other stories establish Sif as Heimdall's sister. This one establishes Sif as Balder's sister. As the series goes on, she's solidified as Heimdall's sister and not Balder's. And there's even, sort of like a love story where there's, like a Lancelot and Guinevere thing where Balder, has a crush on Sif, but, can't act on it because it's his best friend's girlfriend. And just one note, Thor, lifts the hammer without even realizing it. And it gets called out in the narration, sort of, draws your attention to it, draws a line under it. But I do, again, I like playing backseat driver and Monday morning quarterback. And so, to me, I wonder how this story would play if they didn't draw your attention to it. I think it might be sort of a neat thing where some readers might not even notice it, until the end of the story. That, hey, wait a second, he grabbed the hammer and he, it might have been interesting to have it be just sort of have the reader be as unaware as Thor is and only realize it, around the time Thor realizes it. Just might be a little more fun that way. You don't have to over-explain every little bit. I know this place well. It is the castle of King Rugga. Though he is not a god himself, it is his dearest desire to become one. Rugga, I have come for Sif. Free her or suffer the consequences. Wait, Thunder God, let me explain. Hela, the goddess of death, has sworn that she would make me an immortal if I deliver Sif to her. So I did. Heartless one, you would accept life at the expense of someone else's death? Tell me, where can I find Hela? Speak. Do not harm me. I shall tell you where to find her. But no man in his right mind goes to find the goddess of death. And we're kind of getting like the recipe for, the next stage of Kirby's work, when he's doing like new gods and stuff. It's like, he's drawing, Zarko the Tomorrow Man and drawing the high-tech future in the main book. And then he's drawing these like ancient mythological stories, about death and gods and giants and the search for immortality in the back of the book. And so, he just kind of eventually gets the idea to just sort of merge the two, and there you have new gods, But mighty Thor is not just a mere man, and soon, you know that I am Hela, goddess of death. At my touch, even a god must perish. Do with me what you will, but free the innocent Sif. I offer myself in her place. Let me feel your fatal touch. I know no fear, but set Sif free. You would sacrifice yourself for another? Never have I heard such an offer. I cannot do it. I cannot take a life which is so young, so brave, so noble. Go, Thor, son of Odin, and take Sif with you. You have earned her freedom. We see moments like this with Darkseid in the Forever People also, where, he just can't bring himself to, to kill a kid, to kill sort of like a heroic youth. And so it was that Thor first gained full possession of his magic hammer by offering to make the supreme sacrifice, giving up his life for that of another. And the irony of the tale is this: not until days later did the mighty god realize he had won his goal. So, I think that it would have been nice if, in that panel, they didn't draw attention to Thor lifting the hammer, and then only in this final panel, that funny little note of him not realizing it until days later. Next issue, another tale of Asgard, featuring the noblest superhero of them all, the mighty Thor. So, next issue we should see, sort of a full-fledged, mature Thor, having adventures in the ancient world of Asgard. I had a blast with this issue. This is a series that just keeps getting better and better. And I got to say, I think this is my favorite one so far. I mean, again, issue one is issue one, but I mean, this is one hell of a comic book, just packed to the gills with greatness. And even the the sort of filler story that's not by Kirby is pretty darn good. So, A+ to Journey into Mystery number 102. I'm Tom Scioli, author of Jack Kirby, The Epic Life of the King of Comics and Fantastic Four Grand Design, and I'll see you next THORsday.